This is the K-State Radio Network. You're listening to Agriculture Today. And next up, the latest on an issue which has captured the attention, greatly so, of the beef cattle industry the last several weeks. It's something to think about for the future of the industry as well. That is the use of Beta-Agonist products in cattle finishing. Feedlot nutritionist Chris Reinhardt of K-State Research and Extension is with us once again as we continue to see this story unwind here ever so gradually, Chris, as to beta-agonists and the problems that may arise with their use in the industry. More on that in a moment, but remind us the basics, the role of beta-agonists in cattle finishing.
Very simply put, Eric, beta-agonists increase deposition of lean muscle on the carcass. They make cattle more efficient at converting grain to muscle. They also help with the efficiency of converting an animal carcass into saleable red meat.
And without going into much scientific detail, a beta-agonist is composed of what then, technically?
It's a molecule very similar to what we would use in human medicine for an asthma inhaler. And that's where the similarity really ends. It's just the same class of compound. It's also been approved as safe and effective by the Center for Veterinary Medicine, the Food and Drug Administration.
Primarily two brand names out there then, right?
Correct. Brand name Optiflex and brand name Zilmax.
And what rose to the surface here lately, the latter, Zilmax, or Zilpaterol, the formal name, and the fact that there were purportedly issues with the use of that product. You might recap briefly for us that Zilmax episode.
There was one major packer who had a concern that there was an incident of concern about animal welfare that they felt might have been related to the use of Zilmax.
And that had to do with potentially now, and stressing that word, ambulatory problems with cattle that may have received Zilmax?
Yes, and as you and I have talked in the past, there has been no direct link to use of the product. There was just a concern for the potential involvement of the product in these animal welfare issues.
Therefore, the manufacturer of the Zilpaterol product did in fact voluntarily withdraw that product from the shelves.
Correct, and rightly so. That was a very, I think, proactive move on their part to try and, as step one, I guess you'd say, in getting to the bottom of any issue that might have been going on.
What has resulted, though, here is that some question arises now about the future of beta-agonist use, well, in livestock production widely, in cattle production specifically here. Recently, South Korea rejected a shipment of beef that was found to contain Zilpaterol from a packing plant in Texas. So the scrutiny is ramped up, is it not, Chris?
Definitely. I don't believe the circumstances or the issues are linked. At least I hope they're not. But the simple fact that our entire U.S. beef industry had our ears on high alert because of this issue that the packing industry had raised, and then to have this come up out of South Korea, I think all of our antennae were perked again.
The hope here is that beta-agonists could be retained in the future as a tool for meat production, in this case cattle production, and so far there's nothing to suggest that anything different will happen, that it will be a viable tool.
Again, to paint both of the products with the same brush and call them beta-agonists is, number one, it's accurate, but number two, they are different compounds. They are different, even different subclasses of compound within the broader category of beta-agonist. And so, again, when we try and oversimplify a very complex technical issue, we wind up maybe going a little too far, and we do that all the time in our attempt as society to continue to produce safe food. We tend to, maybe the pendulum swings a little further than top, bottom, center.
And a positive that is worth concluding on here, And you stress this, the concern over this whole matter never really reached the consumer level at any point during the last month and a half or so.
As you look through the websites and the blog sites, yes, there were consumers weighing in on the topic, but when we compare it to other recent food safety or food safety concerns, definitely not. The consumer either through lack of information or just lack of interest really never became concerned, and I'm hopeful that was because they perceived that this was a non-event, at least with respect to food safety and the wholesomeness of the food that they were buying.
That would provide reassurance in this matter to the cattle industry for sure. Chris Reinhardt is a feedlot nutritionist with K-State Research and Extension. And we'll have more on agriculture today after we take this break over the K-State Radio Network.